We've got a couple new baseball players breaking into the top 5 this week, along with 2 basketball players who I never would have expected to see on this list. Plus, a brand new champion has been crowned in a sport that we just don't talk about enough. I'm covering it all on this week's Top 5 Cards. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Top 5 Cards Going Up. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot, filling in one more time for Jeff while he's out on vacation. And I just want to get rolling right into the countdown this week. And this week's Top 5 is sponsored by Whatnot. Whatnot has awesome live auctions every day and night, starting at just $1 for packs, boxes, breaks, singles, and more. It's a lot of fun, and if you scan the QR code on your screen or use the special link in our show description below, you'll get $15 in free credit when you sign up for Whatnot. Now, let's take a look at the overall sports cards market with Market Pulse by Market Movers. Over the last 7 days, the SCI 500 index of 500 of the most prominent sports cards is up 0.6%. Over the last 30 days, the SCI 500 is up 0.5%, and since January 1st of this year, it is up 5.2%. The best performing category of cards over the last 30 days is soccer from 2000 to 2009, which is up 23.7%. And the worst performing category is hockey from 1990 to 1999, which is down 7.4%. Now, as a reminder, the cards you'll see in today's show have gone up in price recently, but are not necessarily good investments right now. Do your own research to decide which cards you think will go up in value next. All right, starting out with our cold card this week, and it is Tyrese Halliburton, the guard for the Indiana Pacers. After being voted the most overrated player in the NBA this season by the other players in the league, Halliburton silenced the haters and solidified himself as a franchise cornerstone for the Pacers during his sensational 2025 playoff run. While his stats weren't super gaudy, with 17 points and 9 assists over 23 playoff games, it was his leadership and especially his late game heroics that thrust him into the limelight and showed his championship caliber during the Pacers' Cinderella run to the finals. Sadly, Halliburton suffered a devastating Achilles tendon tear in Game 7, an injury that is expected to keep him sidelined for the entire 2025-26 season. As Indiana reshapes its offseason strategy, Halliburton's absence casts a shadow over what had been a breakout postseason, confirming his all-star status. Now, all of Halliburton's cards, as tracked by Market Movers, are down 10% collectively over the last 30 days. All right, so if we take a look at some of Halliburton's cards here, we've got his Prism Silver Rookie PSA 10. That one is down to $255, down 37%. We've got his Optic Hollow PSA 10. That one down 27% to $97. His Rookie Revolution Autograph down 25% to $86. And his Prism Base Card in PSA 10, Pop 1501, down 36% to $43. So we're seeing what happened with the Achilles tear here. My question for you is, do you think Halliburton can bounce back from this? Is he still a player that's going to have excitement around him starting 2 years from now with all the new rookies coming in, all the competitive guard play in the NBA? There's a big question mark around this. If you want to collect his cards, obviously keep on doing that if you want to go there. But I want to know from you, is now a buy time? Are you still selling Halliburton? What do you say? Let me know down in the comments. And let's move on to our investment card of the week. All right, for our investment card this week, it is Hammerin' Hank Aaron, the right fielder for the Braves. And Hank Aaron is widely regarded as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, known for his consistent excellence, his quiet determination, and, of course, his record-breaking power. Over the duration of his career, mostly with the Braves, Aaron hit 755 home runs, breaking Babe Ruth's long-standing record and holding the mark for more than 3 decades. Some would argue the mark is still his, being held today. He finished with 3,771 hits, 2,297 RBIs, which is still an all-time record, and a .305 career batting average. He earned many All-Star selections, and he won the NL MVP in 1957. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1982 and remains a lasting symbol of greatness, courage, and integrity in the history of American sports. We lost Hank a few years ago, and we're going to take a look at his 1954 Topps iconic rookie card. And as with most, if not all of these vintage cards, when you go up the grade scale all the way up to the highest grades, like this PSA 9, of which there are only 25 in existence, you get a huge price premium, and that one's going to set you back $384,000 for that Hank Aaron. But if we pop that off the chart, we can see where you could get into some of these cards. Still not cheap. A lot of these cards very expensive. We know that the 52 or the 50s top sets are very expensive. And so even in the other grades, we've got his PSA 8 here at $46,000, PSA 7 at $18,000, 7.5 is $20,100, PSA 6.5, $13,400, and a PSA 6, $9,600. We can pop this open and scroll down, and if you really want to get into one of these Hanks, maybe you want to get yourself a 1, that's still going to be almost $2,000. And honestly, it's for good reason. This is Hank Aaron's rookie card. It's the one you want to go after if you want to hold one of these iconic pieces for the long term. It's a true investment card, and Hank Aaron is our investment card of the week. All right, now counting down our hot cards of the week, and at number 5, it is Ilia Topuria, the now UFC lightweight champion, already the reigning featherweight champion. He decided to move up a weight class for a bigger challenge, and he has cemented himself as a premier force now in the UFC, following a historic run capped by his victory at UFC 317, which was, in my opinion, the best fight card of the year so far. He made history by knocking out Charles Oliveira in just 2 minutes and 27 seconds into round 1, which he predicted and called out in the press conference he was going to do. He claimed the 155-pound title, becoming only the 10th multi-division, 2-division champion in UFC history, and extending his unbeaten streak now to 17-0. And he's been an incredible force. He knocked out Volkanovski. He just keeps taking guys out, and now he is ranked number 1 in the UFC pound-for-pound standings, and he's attracting attention for marquee matchups, potentially with like a grudge fight against Paddy Pimblett. That would be fun to see. The trash talking would be really fun. I would personally rather see a marquee matchup versus Arman Tsarukyan, or maybe even better, Islam Makhachev. All of Topuria's cards, as tracked by market movers, are up now 34% collectively over the last 30 days. We're going to take a look at a few of those. We've got his Prism PSA 10 Hyper here. Nice looking card, good photo, good strong reaction from Topuria. That went up to $380 a month ago, $184 for that same card. Then we've got his PSA 10 Prism Silver rookie card here. This is out of 2022 Prism, by the way. That one's up almost 100%, 99.3% to $279. We've got his UFC Fight Night Raw card. These are somewhat rare to come by, and that's why these ones command a bit of a premium. That one's up 81.2% in raw condition to $72.50. And then lastly, we've got his Optic Blue Velocity in raw condition. More affordable here, now at $25. That is up 285%. So just a month ago, you could have been scooping these on eBay or ComC or in the value bins maybe out there for $6.50. So it's an interesting thing with UFC, and when these guys spike, it can be a bit mercurial, a bit of strong reaction initially, and then they come down to earth. Something to be careful of, but Topuria doesn't look like a guy who's slowing down anytime soon. You let us know down in the comments, is he a buy right now, or are you gonna sell the hype? All right, number 4 on our hot list, it is Eduardo Quintero, the prospect for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the rich, well, they just seem to keep getting richer. Quintero is staking claim as a rising outfield prospect in the Dodgers system after a breakout season so far in High A. He was signed from Venezuela in 2023, and the 19-year-old is a polished hitter who excels in making contact, rarely chasing pitches outside of the zone, and spraying the ball to all parts of the field. Now, playing for Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, he's slashing .319, .430, and .560 with 13 home runs and 33 stolen bases. All of Quintero's cards, as tracked by market movers, are up 16.8% collectively over the last 30 days. And you can see several of them are up significantly more. Some others may be starting to cool off. So is this a little flash in the pan, or is Quintero here to stay? Time will tell. Here we've got his Bowman First Orange Auto. This one is up. This is in raw condition most recently to $2,020. That is a 78% increase from $1,130 just 30 days ago. We've got his a blue Prospect Auto First. That one's up 26.7%, most recently to $850. Then we've got his base, his Refractor Auto. This one you're seeing more volatility on. So total over the last 30 days up 2.6%, but there were some high sales that were up 37.4% above $200. And then finally, his base auto, and this one's sitting at about $60 right now, which is essentially flat over the last month, but you can see that the trend line in general has been moving up on Quintero. Again, the Dodgers, typically really good farm systems. Here's another guy to throw into the mix. We saw Andy Pages on the list last week, and he's continuing to emerge. Can anything stop the Dodgers right now and for the years to come? Time will tell. Quintero is our number 4 hot card of the week. All right, at number 3 this week, and this one surprised me except for the trade, and it is Cam Whitmore, the forward now for the Washington Wizards. Whitmore is getting a fresh start with the Wizards after being traded from the Houston Rockets for 2 second-round picks. The 6'7" wing was drafted 20th overall in 2023 and showed some flashes of scoring upside and elite athleticism during his 2 seasons with the Rockets. He averaged 9.4 points and 3 rebounds while shooting 44.4% from the field, but he struggled to earn consistent minutes in a crowded rotation for the Rockets. Now back in his native DMV area, Whitmore is expected to take on an expanded role as part of the Wizards' youth-focused rebuild alongside Bilal Coulibaly and Trey Johnson. All of Whitmore's cards as tracked by market movers are up 15.8% collectively over the last 30 days. And we'll start out with his mezzanine zebra. Everybody loves a good animal skin parallel, and we've got his mezzanine zebra SSP. These are case hits, raw condition, now up to $80, 35.6% increase. That is on one sale that happened right after the trade announcement, from $57 up to $80. So a quick reaction from the crowd. Then we've got his Prism Silver PSA 10. This is up to $67, which, as PSA 10 silvers go, is still pretty cheap. But then again, this is a guy who averaged 9.4 points per game. And even if he pops off and goes for 20 with the Wizards, will anybody actually care? Well, some people seem to think so, and they've started the speculation train on Whitmore. This card just a month ago was $52.50. Then we got his Prism Fast Break here, this one in PSA 10 condition. Just 39 of these, up to $45. That's an 83.7% increase. And lastly, we've got a unlicensed Topps Chrome Cosmic. I believe this was the first year they were doing the Topps Chromes. And this one is his first flight signature refractor, numbered to 75. Raw condition, up to $35 recently. Could have gotten this one a month ago in the $10 bin for $10.05. At number 3 this week, it's Cam Whitmore. All right, at number 2 this week, this is a guy who I frankly never expected to see on this list again, and that is DeAndre Ayton, the center for now the Los Angeles Lakers. Ayton is entering a pivotal chapter in his career after a buyout from the Trailblazers and signing a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. The former #1 pick in 2018 averaged 14.4 points and 10.2 rebounds last season in Portland, but his inconsistent effort and a calf injury led to the eventual buyout. Now with the Lakers, Ayton joins a powerhouse front court, obviously featuring LeBron James and Luka Doncic, who reportedly lobbied for this move for the Lakers to pick him up. It's kind of interesting. It was rumored back then in that 2018 draft whether the Suns were going to draft Luka or Ayton. The then head coach had connections to Luka in Europe and had been his coach, but then they were in Phoenix, and Ayton was the kind of consensus #1 big man in the draft and had played at Arizona. Obviously, they went with, well, we'll call it the wrong direction outright and drafted Ayton, and now he rejoins Luka with the Lakers. Now, as he claims to revive his potential, Ayton's fit with the Lakers will depend on his motor and consistency under the spotlight of championship chase. And one thing I would say, we know that LeBron and Luka both have that competitive drive and hunger, so maybe they can help light a fire in Ayton. All of his cards as tracked by market movers are up 34.3% collectively over the last 30 days. Here's his rookie Prism Silver, rookie signature silver PSA 10. This one hit a high sale of $80 a couple days ago, or a week ago, I should say, and now at $70 in PSA 10 condition. Here's his Prism Silver PSA 10. So pretty remarkable, cheaper than Cam Whitmore. So Cam Whitmore, guy who's only averaged 9 points a game, been in the league a couple years, 20th overall draft pick, Ayton, the former #1, and this card up to $60. Now, as a high point, up 194%, by the way. That card was a month ago, $20. And then you've got his Ruby Wave PSA 10, up 167% to $40. And lastly, his Prism Base, $15, $16. That is technically up 434%. And this is what can happen. It's the graveyard for all the PSA 10 base rookie cards over time to just go into those little boxes that sit on certain dealers' tables or in card shops. You scroll through and it's like, here's your $1 to $5 slabs. Well, apparently there's still some life in those to be had. The last thing I want to do with Ayton is just kind of look at his all-time price information. And specifically, I want to look at his Prism Silver. So I'm going to take these off of the chart for now, just so that we can see exactly how high this card peaked out. And at its high, it was hovering in the like $600 range. That was, obviously during the COVID era. But even if I pop this open and I look at this overall time, the average sale price was $232. So something to be mindful of. The speculation game certainly does not always pay off, especially long term. Ayton is hot right now. Will he stay hot? We'll see. Let's move on to our number 1 hot card of the week. All right, we're moving on to number 1 this week, but before we do, you've got to check out Market Movers, the provider of all of this data, as always, on the top 5 and so many of our other videos. Market Movers is built for collectors like you. You can track your entire collection, get access to price charts, movements, alerts, deals, and so much more. Go to marketmoversapp.com or check out Market Movers in the App Store and get your free trial started today. And now, without further ado, number 1, finally getting some credit after a fantastic season. It is James Wood, the left fielder for the Washington Nationals, making his second appearance this season in the top 5. Wood has quickly established himself as one of baseball's most exciting young talents. In his first full major league season, Wood has been a force at the plate, hitting .272 with 31 home runs and 105 RBIs. If you go out to Baseball Savant, you're going to see a whole bunch of red indicating he's near or at the top of the league in a lot of different broken out metrics. His power numbers are backed by a 156 WRC plus and a 14.5% walk rate, showcasing elite plate discipline and raw power. This guy is a monster at the plate, 6'7", athletic, and over the last 20 games in particular, he's been on an absolute tear, batting .326 with 30 hits, 7 homers, 22 RBIs, and 20 runs scored. All of his cards as tracked by Market Movers are up 21.5% collectively over the last 30 days. That's on 161 different cards, totaling 805 sales, and we're going to look at some of those here. This is his Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto. You know the base autos. This one's up 50.9% to $660 in PSA 10 condition. A month ago, that card was at $438. We've got this awesome new insert set out of 2025 Bowman Crystallized. These things actually look even better in hand. Really cool in hand. This one up 25% to $260, and that's in raw condition. Then we've got his Chrome Prospect First. This is the Mega Box Mojo PSA 10, a little over 1,700 of these. That one up to $73. That's a 110% increase. We've got his Home Field Advantage Topps version of the Downtowns. Personally, design-wise, I prefer the HFAs. This one up to $61, up 35% over the last 30 days. And then we've got his PSA 10, just his base rookie card here, base Topps rookie card, $50. My approach on these, be a little bit careful in general, but James Wood is obviously having a heck of a season. And like I said, I think he's finally getting some credit. It's a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, if you look at some of the prices of his Bowman Firsts, they're very high compared to like established MLB players. If you look at him compared to other young stars in the league, they still seem to have some room to go. So where he goes from here, nobody knows. You can let me know your predictions down in the comment, but James Wood, very exciting. A lot of potential there with the Nationals into the future, and hopefully he's here to stay because he's incredibly fun to watch. All right, that does it for this week's top 5 cards. Let me know what you think to all these cards down below and who were you surprised to see or not see on this week's list. Go download Market Movers, check out Whatnot, use the code down below, and until next time, happy investing, keep on collecting, and make sure to have fun.